What's going on, people? It's your boy Devalian7 back at it again with another combat guide as with Yakuza 0 and Kiwami. But this time we'll be covering the things that you should know about Yakuza 6's combat to help give you an edge when you're out to beat some chimpiras. The combat in 6, as most of you know, is vastly different from that of 0 and Kiwami and any game preceding it really. It's a completely new engine, and while the basics are pretty much the same, you still can't exactly call it identical to the combat of previous games. So naturally there will be differences that you should be aware of, and that's what I'm here to cover today. The first and perhaps the most important thing we'll be covering is the new experience points system, what you need to know about it and how to make the most of it. New to Yakuza 6 is an experience point system where you don't simply gain experience points and you'd call it a day. Instead, this game has 5 separate types of experience points. Some abilities have you using all types of experience, and others will only need 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 depending on the skill. So this may raise the need for farming a certain type of XP for many. And one of the best ways to do that is through the newfound use of restaurants, where particular meals can give you the kind of XP that you need. And let me tell you right now, restaurants alone are a whole world to explore in this game. What restaurant you eat from is very important to take into account, because if you decide to compare some of them, you'll notice that some of them will give you significantly less nutrition value than others. So you really should go out there and figure out which restaurants best suit your XP needs. It's crucial to take into account and compare how much nutrition you can get from the different meals at these restaurants while keeping an eye at the hunger meter. You want to get the most XP you can have while not filling yourself up immediately to be the most efficient with it. An important tip that may need a bit of patience is that you don't necessarily need to eat the biggest amount of meals at once to maximize your XP. You'd be surprised to know that having one item per sitting can be the best way to gain a select type of XP at times. This works wonders, especially with rare XP points like Charm and Technique, which are purple and green types respectively. Make sure to check out food related abilities such as the quicker digestion ones, the increased hunger capacity ones, and the increased food XP points ones as well. In my experience, raising food XP points to the max helped a lot with gaining back all the spent points. You'll start to get a ton of experience through food that way. One thing to note is that the increased XP points from the upgrades won't show when you're highlighting food items on the menu. You'll only see the difference when Kiryu actually consumes the meals. Also, if you're loaded and want to do this quicker rather than just running around and fighting to digest the food, what you can do is buy these 2 items from the Rise Up gym to instantly burn off 50 or 100 off the hunger meter, and you'd be able to gain XP again, seeing as you won't get any if you eat while Kiryu is full. You'll only gain HP, but that's about it. How to gain quick money, you ask? Look out for triads near Little Asia and make sure to increase your money gain skill. But with all of that said, there is little reason to rush this through, because pretty much everything you do in this game gives you XP points. Sub-stories, bosses, mini-games, and so on. So it doesn't hurt to go at your own pace, but it's just something to keep in mind if you want quick XP regardless. Now, this is only from my experience, but the most efficient restaurants to get each kinds of XP are Ikinari Steak in Kamurocho for red XP, Sushi Zanmai or Ringer Hut both in Kamurocho for the blue XP, no specific one for the yellow XP, but Ringer Hut can work pretty well, Sushi Zanmai in Kamurocho and Yonetoku in Onomichi for the green XP, and finally Cafe Alps in Kamurocho or La Pente in Onomichi. I especially recommend Blue Mountain Coffee from Cafe Alps. That shit gives you a lot of purple XP and green XP as well, especially given that it only fills up like 5 of your hunger meter. But that's all for the new XP system. Now we're gonna move on to number 2, which is never forget blocking and dodging. I'm gonna keep this short and concise because it's simple enough that you should just drill it into your head whenever you play a Yakuza game at this point. They work pretty much the same as other Yakuza games. You block with L1 and you dodge with X. Be sure to upgrade your evasion skill to increase your dodge distance, but also to eventually unlock double dodge and even a triple dodge ability. In addition to those, you'll also be able to get the quick step cancel ability after enough evasion upgrades. I can't stress enough how important those aforementioned abilities are, so definitely make sure you get them as soon as you can. And also make sure you get evasion strike so you can land a hit while dodging. Number 3. Prioritize boost combo speed abilities. In previous games like Yakuza 3 and I think Yakuza 5, you started out pretty slow when doing rush combos, and it can become a real pain very quickly, especially when you just want to be quicker than that. That comes back in Yakuza 6, where there's 3 combo speed abilities that I highly recommend you get as soon as you can. And I mean really as soon as you get your hands on enough experience for these abilities, because it is a game changer. You'll be surprised by how much better combat becomes the faster you are, and the combat in Yakuza 6 becomes tremendously more fun once you max out your combo speed. It's almost as if you're playing a different game. That's how much better it can get. Number 4. Take your time exploring upgrades. There are dozens of upgrades, and among all of them, there may be some abilities that you may find more useful than others do. So whenever you have XP, or when you even don't, take the time to look at the abilities available and decide what you think will be useful, depending on how you play and what you can get by without. Number 5. Extreme Heat Mode. Yakuza 6 introduces a new ability where for a limited amount of time, Kiryu will have a blue heat aura around him. Once in this mode, you have access to heat actions that you otherwise aren't able to access outside of it. And also, your rush combos will end in what I'd like to call mash actions, given that you'll have to tap triangle to maximize your damage in each of the rush combos mash actions. So whenever you're ready to buy some new heat actions, make sure you check whether or not you need to be in extreme heat mode to be able to use it, so that you don't get confused as to why it doesn't work in the heat of combat. I noticed that there's one heat action that isn't listed in the heat action section of the upgrade menu, even though it is a place where unlocked heat actions should be there. And that would be one of my favorite heat actions, where you have to mash square in extreme heat mode to get this spectacle. It should be noted though that if you do this near a wall, chances are you'll get this mash action instead, so that's just something to keep in mind. You can increase the amount of punches done when tapping square in extreme heat mode, but personally I find that keeping it shorter is better to get that heat action that I showed earlier, which a friend of mine likes to call Dragon Flurry, seeing as because it's not there on the heat action list, it's probably nameless. But that's about it for extreme heat mode. Number 6. Get the dropkick ASAP. You have no idea how much better the dropkick is in this game in comparison to the previous games where it's pretty much useless. The dropkick here is one of your most effective weapons against crowds and even against single enemies like bosses. It'll build up your heat faster than you think, especially the higher your heat gauge skill is and the more people you hit with it. It's not called dropkick in the game though, you'll find it by the name of dash attack. So keep that in mind if you're looking for it. Number 7. Crowd control option number 2. The circle grab. The circle grab in Yakuza 6 is yet another one of your deadliest weapons against big groups of people. Grab an enemy with circle and then press circle again, and use the left stick to change the direction if needed. Keep it handy because there will be times where you face a shit ton of enemies all at the same time. And to make it even more effective, as well as with a dropkick, make sure to get the ability called collateral damage. And that's pretty much it for the things that I think you should really know about Yakuza 6's combat. This doesn't necessarily mean that you can't check out other techniques and options that the game has to offer, but I'm merely telling you about the things that personally helped me immensely. So I hope you'll find them just as useful. But with that said, you should definitely take the time to see what else the combat has to offer, because you never know, you may find things that'll help you more than they helped me. But yeah, I hope this video helps you. This is Devilian7 signing out. Peace!